Hello, Jerisha Hawk here. I just wanted to do a quick check-in with you guys, see how life is going. If you're new to me, hello and welcome. Hey there. This is the Hawk Hustle Morning Show. Welcome to Hawk Hustle Headquarters. My name is Jerisha Hawk. I'm a high-ticket sales coach, digital business consultant, and I help experts like you take the skills that you already have and turn them into a service that you can sell. So hello. If you guys are catching this live or in the replay, just pop in the comments, say hey, let me know you're here. But I just want to do a Friday check-in with y'all. It's been a long week. It has been a long week. And one thing I just wanted to, just share behind the scenes, what I'm learning, what I'm working on, and I wanted to check in on you. Like, what are you doing? What are you working on? Where are you struggling? Where are you succeeding? I just wanted to do a quick check-in. Hey, Kiana. Hey, Yolanda. Hey, Ebony. Hey, is it Andrea? Hey, guys. But this, probably for the past maybe for the month of August or so, I've really been trying to change up my schedule in regards to how I manage my time. And also just being real with myself on where I have dropped the ball as a CEO, because I'm trying to gather myself and pick the balls back up and get moving again. So it has been a really, I don't know, this month has been really a huge learning curve. I feel like I've been saying that every time I've come on live and just done a check-in with you guys. Mainly because for me, at least August, July timeframe feels like the new year for me. Because July was the month where I quit my job 2 years ago. And kind of when I really okay, this is for real, what I'm doing over here with the business. And so I think every time July hits, it's the new year, beginning of the year, and kind of it feels like January, February for me. But this month in particular, I've been really focusing on how do I need to become a better leader. So this is something I tell you guys all the time is people are always asking, Jay, what book should I read? Or what coach should I hire next? And I think it's really important for you to understand, kind of just like school, what classes are you taking this semester? And what does your general focus or your primary focus need to be when it comes to an education standpoint, but then also from an execution standpoint. So, and then based off of what your education curriculum needs to be or what your execution deliverables or priorities are, that will then dictate what knowledge, what books, what coaching might best suit you for the season that you're in. So I like to look at my life, and this is, again, I'm just sharing you guys some behind the scenes, and we can totally do some Q&A because there's no training that we're going to go through today. But if you guys have any questions that need answers or something you're struggling with and want another perspective, just pop the questions in the comments. But that's kind of how I determine, what my education is going to look like for me in that season. And just similar, your kids are about to go back to school, or my little cousin, he's about to go back to school next week. And it's okay, I took him on on Monday of this week, I took him and my grandma up to his school to go get his schedule, figure out what his classes are. And it's you got to treat yourself the same way. You sending your kids off to school, you worried about what their curriculum workload is going to be, what classes they're taking, what their, who their teachers are going to be. And I try to treat my life and my business the exact same way, in the sense of what is my curriculum going to be for this next semester? Who are the teachers that I need to be learning from? And what does success look like? In school, there's a grading system, but you as a CEO, you now have to determine what your grading system is going to be. Kind of the beautiful thing about not having a boss is that you don't have a boss. But then the tough part about it is there's no boss to tell you what you need to do or to define what success looks like. And that's been really one of the biggest lessons I've been learning is, as a CEO, it is my responsibility to define what success looks like, not only for me, but for my business and for every team member that comes on board. And that's been really a tough, I'm still learning that lesson. I'm still learning how to navigate that and learning how to navigate how do we define success? What does good look like? What does bad look like? What are the consequences of us succeeding? What are the consequences of us, and really defining what does success look like, I think a lot of time, I know for me at least, I don't know if you guys can relate, I'm like, man, you know, I failed, or like I didn't succeed. And it's like, well, did you ever define what failure looked like? Like, did you ever define what success looked like before you started down this path? And as you started down the path, maybe you realize that the criteria has changed. Like success actually is something different, or failure actually is something different. And that's been one of the biggest lessons I've been learning, especially from a hiring perspective, is that like, I feel like we got a cemetery full of people we've let go at this point. And it's not because like they're bad human beings. It's really because it's just what, like, one thing that in business that I'm learning is, because I am a small business, and we will be a small business for probably quite some time now, is things change rapidly. Like, the goals of the business change so fast. The direction of the business can change so fast. Like, your offerings and your positioning is constantly evolving and shifting. So like, one thing that I've learned is that because of that, the staff that we have on the team it changes fast. So like, this person may have been a need 3 months ago, but 3 months later, they're no longer a need. Or this person may have been a necessity 6 months ago, but because we've streamlined our processes, simplified our systems, and like cut an offering, they're no longer necessary. Like, there's so much, there's just a lot of volatility when you're building your business. And I still think I'm like in infancy stages. You know, we're making a couple $100,000 a year, but like, we're still babies in this whole business world, right? So like, things are just changing very, very rapidly. So that's been a huge lesson, is that like, you know, people come and people go, and it's not because they're bad people or because they did bad work. It's just because like the needs of the business may have changed. So then the contractors that are on the team or the consultants that you've hired may and will change fast. So that's been a huge lesson, is like, I think for me, I know like letting people go is one of the most difficult. There's like two things that I struggle with the most in my business. One is letting people go, and actually being like, not feeling this immense guilt, or not feeling like, not overly carrying the burden that like, hey, our seasons have changed, we need to turn the soil over, I don't think this is going to work out for us moving forward. And the second thing that I struggle with the most is having clients that you know can be successful, but they don't see the potential in themselves, so they don't show up. Those are the two biggest things I struggle with the most in my business, is at least up until this point, from like an emotional behind the scenes, what I'm complaining to my fiance about, or like what I'm like sorrowing to him about, is either clients we know have the capability and know have the potential to get results, but don't show up for themselves. Like, they don't, like, I believe in them bigger than they believe in themselves, but almost like to a disadvantage. That breaks my heart. And then also like team, I've really had to learn that like, it's okay that the team is changing, and that it's changing fast, because that's just the business that we're in, and that's also the season that we're in right now. But then the second thing that I've been learning that is really difficult for me, which I'm not like, part of the reason I think we've let people go is because of me, like because of the CEO, because I didn't clearly define what success looked like, and I didn't really set these team members up to be the best that they could be in this role. And also like the same thing that I do with my clients, you know, we are very strict about who we let into services that sell, in the sense that, you know, we don't make you jump through hoops, but there's a certain level of expectation that I need you to have before you enroll. Because if you're not committed to doing the work, don't join our program. Like, if you're not committed to showing up, don't join our program. Like, I'm very, very clear about who we want in the door for services that sell, and who we do not want in the door for services that sell. And when students enroll in services that sell, they have a very clear understanding of what's expected of us as Team Hawk delivering the content, but also them as a student being in our program. There's very clear expectations. And that's one area in my business where I've like got that right. But then I'd say the other area in business where I'm still struggling with that is like, how do I set my team up with that level of success? Whereas like, don't join Team Hawk if you fit this criteria, or you'd be a really good fit here if. And that's been a really huge and tough lesson for me to learn, mainly because as a solopreneur, before it's just me. Like there is no company culture because it's just me doing all the work. As the business grows, the company takes on an identity of itself. And now you have to start to define and you start to recognize what is the culture that we've created here. Because the culture that might have worked for you when you were just by yourself, like a hustle all day, every day, work 12 hours a day, everything is an emergency. Like how you define your culture isn't just the core values you write on that PDF in your Google Drive, right? Like the core values are the things that, like, it's the environment, it's the attitude, it's the energy that exists because of your actions. Like your culture is created by the actions that you take and the actions that you don't take. It has nothing to do with what you say. Part of it is what you say, but if what you say isn't backed up by how you act, your culture will default to what your actions are. And I think that's something that I'm learning and kind of struggling through the process of learning is the company culture when it was just me is not sustainable for a team, right? Like my company culture was like, I was a huge quick start. Like if I had an idea, I would just go do it. I didn't have to consult anybody or I would just move very, very fast. That doesn't really work the best when you have a team, or like I said, just defining expectations. And that's been really what I think part of the reason too, as to why we've had the level of turnover that we've had. And, I'm just being very frank, is because like, I'm learning that it is my responsibility. Like I can't go hire a coach to tell me what this stuff needs to be. Like when I hire a coach, I was kind of mad the other day. Caitlin, if you're watching this, no one's all in love. This is why you have to hire people who stretch you. So one of my coaches right now is Caitlin Batcher. I absolutely love working with her. And I was asking her about, okay, do you have I need to create a better onboarding process. Like we have a new coach joining our team and I really want to make sure that we're setting them up to be successful. Like, what does that need to look like? And she kept coming back with me. Like she wasn't giving me the answer. And a couple days ago, I was so frustrated because I'm like, woman, I hired you. Why aren't you just giving me the answers and telling me what I need to do? And this is why she's a good coach, is because it's like, I have to remember that I'm the CEO of my business, and that I have to remember that just because something may work for it, like you have to realize when you're growing a business, you're not building a carbon copy of somebody else, right? And I think this is something that's very difficult when you're used to being an employee, where your previous job defined what success was. They gave you all the operating procedures. They told you where the lines were that you had to stay within and stay without. They gave you the parameters. And now as you're building your own business, and again, this is something that I'm stumbling through trying to learn, is that like there might be best practices out there and like lessons learned, but at the end of the day, like you have to define what your company culture is going to be. And if you try to carbon copy somebody else's company culture, like that's not going to be authentic or be congruent with who you are and how you show up. But the thing that Caitlin, I kept asking her, okay, but like, I need help with this. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I don't know what success looks like. Like, she's like, well, how do you define it? Like, she kept asking me these questions, and I started getting resistance because the questions are hard to answer. And I just wanted the easy way out. I'm like, just give me the answer. Like, why won't you just give me the answer? And I had to remember, like, I had to coach myself in that moment. And it's like the same way I talk to my students is my students are not here to make a carbon copy of Drisha Hawk's business, right? It's my job to guide them and journey them along the process of building their own business. And their own business is going to have its own processes. Their own business is going to have its own unique services, their own unique way of communicating. Like, and they're going to have their own like intellectual property that's own, like that are kind of like their trade secrets of what makes their business, right? And it's like I had to coach myself in that moment. Like, I'm like, why am I getting so mad at her? And I'm literally like, I'm not gonna lie. I was in here like, do y'all like going in like by myself in my bedroom, going all bone quick-wee, like, does she know how much money I paid her? Why ain't she just giving me the answer? Like, I don't understand this. She going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, ma'am, how much money did I just already pay you? This is what I paid you for, to give me answers. And I had to gather myself. I had to snatch my own edges, right? That's not what I paid her for. That's not why you hire a coach. Like, you hire a coach to guide you, to train you, to stretch you, to ask you the tough questions that you don't necessarily want to answer because they're hard. Like, they're hard questions. And then like all this internal like crap comes up, like imposter syndrome, and like, what if I make the wrong decision? And like, I'm not qualified for this. Like, let me quit and just go back and get a job because I don't know how to answer this question. And then I created space, right? Like, I had to give myself space. And what I mean by that is like, really, right, I got ratchet. She said, keep it righteous. Like, that's what I had to do. I was like, sister, I'm over here neck rolling, fingers snapping, like clapping, like, let's go, meet me outside. And it's like, none of that is necessary, Jerisha. None of that is necessary. Okay? This is what you hired her for. This is why you hire a coach. And me and my fiance, we've been watching that show on Netflix, QB1. And what's the other one? Like Hard Knocks, where they're like showing like the behind the scenes of like the NFL players. And life is just so full circle. Like, you will find inspiration everywhere. But last night we were watching the episode, and one of the coaches, I think we're watching this football season, and it's like these guys have already gotten signing bonuses, but like they still ain't necessarily made the team. Like, you have to prove yourself on the field. And the guy yesterday was like, excuses? I don't care about no excuses. He's like, well, the other guy kind of hit me high, and coach like, he's like, go low. Like, I don't care nothing about no excuses. Figure it out. Like, you get paid to win. And he's like, you on the team right now, but you might not be on the team next week. Things can change. And I was like, yeah, Jayla, you better quit making these excuses. And like, there's so many excuses we can make. Like, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Like, like, I paid them for this. And it's like, you need to check yourself. And remember that you are responsible for your own actions. And like, that you can be cut from the team. You can be cut from the team. And I had to remind myself of that just last night. Like, I can be cut from my own team of my own business. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. How would that look like? That means the business just would no longer exist, right? So like, if I'm not showing up and like, I'm saying I want this business. I'm saying I want to be the CEO. I'm saying I want to build this thing to be something bigger and greater than me. And then it's like, but then are you willing, like, are you taking the necessary actions to do that? Like, are you taking, like, there's a responsibility with this freedom that I say that I want, right? There's a responsibility to the title that I say that I want to have and the impact that I want to make. Like, that comes with a cost. And sometimes that cost is like you being comfortable, and not even being comfortable, but you being decisive to making those tough decisions, to defining, like, recognizing this is where I'm slipping as a leader, and this is why my team is not set up for success because of my lack of communication, because I haven't defined what success looks like for them, because I'm hiring them and like, well, why aren't they doing a good job? It's like, did you set them up to do a good job? Questions that need answers. Like, you are, like, in business, you are constantly looking, you have to be constantly looking in the mirror and constantly asking yourself the tough questions. And I think it's so important too, is hiring coaches that won't let you, like, that won't give you the easy way out. Because if that, I invested in Caitlin because I want to be, I really admire how she's built her business. But part of the way that she's built her business, like, and the reason why she even does her mastermind, she'll say this time and time again, like, that's not where she makes her bread and butter, but she does it because she wants to invest in other business owners. She wants to be that mentor. It's like, she wants me to succeed. So she's not going to give me the fish. She's going to teach me how to fish, right? Like, she's not going to let me off the hook. She's not going to give me the easy way out by, like, just giving me the answer all the time. Like, because the answer isn't that simple. It's not like, do we buy this Sharpie or that one? Like, you're making very critical decisions about how your business is going to evolve, like how you're going to walk, how you're going to navigate, how you're going to be perceived. And those are not just like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am type of questions. But it's her role to ask me the right questions, to make me think harder and like be decisive. And so I got to tell Caitlin I apologize, because I shared my mind with her in my bedroom. when she ain't hear me. And I went in on her. And just yesterday, when I was at Panera Bread, finishing up my onboarding process that I said that I didn't know how to make 5 days ago. It's like, I knew how to do it. It just was hard. Like, it wasn't easy for me to do, like, because I had to sit and think. And like, I think that's something, I don't even know. I'm just giving y'all all the things I'm struggling with right now, is that like, as you grow in your business, like, you have to give yourself space to just think. And like give yourself space to just work. Like, being the multitasker where you're doing everything under the sun, there's a season for it where it's necessary and required, but there's also seasons where like you got to stop doing that. Like, you have to give yourself the capacity to just think through processes, and like give yourself like, you know, CEO thinking time to just think through what are all the different answers that are available and which one is the best one for us to move forward with right now. And also like saying that the answer that we chose yesterday might have been the right answer, but then today it might be a different answer. Like, it might look different. It might need to be different. And then you might go down a whole track and realize that the thing is trash. And then you got to just, you know, not start over, but adjust or pivot. So you have to give yourself the capacity and the time to think. And that's where like for me, I've been really changing up my schedule to give myself bigger blocks of time to just think and to work on the business, like to actually give myself CEO time to process problems and come up with, okay, what does success look like? And like so I've been shifting my schedule and I've been trying to be really protective of it, where like I don't have any meetings on my calendar before like 11 or noon. Where only time I have calls are like after 12 o'clock in the afternoon, because it gives me my morning, which is honestly my most creative time. It's a time where I haven't really been hit by the day yet, where like people aren't demanding of me, where I've been giving myself my mornings, 2 to 4 hour blocks to just like make CEO decisions, like think, develop processes, define what success looks like, create clear expectations. So that's where I've been really working on changing my schedule, to give myself the space to do those things, like to work on the business, right? Like, not just internally, but like also my professional development. Because I think sometimes it's tough. People hire coaches or join coaching programs, and it's like you have to give yourself time to actually go to class, and like not just go to class, but come home and do the homework. Like, you have to give yourself time to do those things. And sometimes it can feel like, well, this time that I'm doing, I need to be doing something else. Like this time isn't productive. But that's like really where you have to shift your mindset. And where I've even had to shift my mindset, that's saying that like me investing in myself is the best thing that I can do for my business. Like, I am the most valuable asset of my business at the end of the day, and you are too of yours. Like, at this stage in your business, you are literally the most valuable asset, because if you don't build the boat, you got to build the boat. If you don't build the boat, honey, ain't nothing for nobody else to ride on. Like, you got to build the boat. Okay. And this is very symbolic. You can't build a boat with cheap material. You can try to, but the boat ain't gonna last. Or the boat may only sail in the pond in your backyard, but it won't survive in the ocean. When storms hit, you got to build a good boat, and you are the one building the boat, right? You got to build a good boat. I'm gonna say it again. Because anybody you hire, if there's no seats on your boat, there's no hiring opportunity. If your boat ain't moving, ain't sailing, ain't gliding on that water, can't no clients get in, right? And then you got to think about, what kind of boat are you building? Is it built for the pond in the backyard? Is it a little floaty boat that only can survive in your pool? Will it survive going downriver, whitewater rafting? Or are you ready to go out to sail the ocean? You got to build the boat. And you got to give yourself time to build the boat. Like, those foundational, like ground level things are so vital. So vital to your success. So that's a little behind the scenes on what's going on here. Exactly. Somebody said, stop trying to drive the boat and build an actual one. It's so funny. People want to be driving a boat, worried about what their captain hat looks like, worried about if their body's snatched enough for the yacht photo that they're going to take at the steering wheel. Lo and behold, they're taking that steering wheel on the sand. They're not even on the water. They ain't even got no boat. You got to build a boat. Okay, guys, you build your damn boat. I feel like I just said boat like 50 times, but that's like, you have to give yourself the time to do that. And like, that time is valuable. Like, you may not see like the return on the investment immediately when you're doing that. But just know that like your future success is dependent on how good the foundation of your boat is. And so it's important for you to give yourself time to like pay attention when you hire the coach, to actually show up to the classes if your coach is offering live classes, to actually do the growth assignments and the homework that your coach gives you. Like, it's just like I had to get in my little cousin's butt because he's like, well, I went to class, but I'm like, bro, you're not getting good grades. He's like, well, I'm not, they supposed to teach me that in school. Bro, you're supposed to come home. The coach, your class, introduces you to the topic. It is your responsibility to go home to study that material and make sure that you comprehend what you learned in class. It's also your responsibility to go ask that teacher questions, because if they don't know that you're struggling if you don't let them know that you're struggling, right? I had to get in my little cousin, and I'm like, Jay, you need to be listening to yourself while you're over here cutting into him. Are you paying attention in class? Are you showing up to class? Are you giving yourself time to do the homework and to study the material and to do some practice assignments and give yourself grace to not know the answers? Are you showing your work, Jerisha? And showing your work for a lot of us is showing up in our business, right? Showing your work is showing up in business. Showing your work is sharing the results that you're getting for your clients.